Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. It is October 11th, and I am so pleased that you have decided to spend a few moments of your day with me. So, a lot going on. Before I sort of focus in one direction, I just want to take a moment to focus in another direction. For those of you who are inclined or wish, I ask that you send energy, love, light, and prayers in two places today. One, to Syria. There are a lot of innocent people being hurt and killed, displaced, because of, because of Trump, frankly. It's just that simple. The world is a much more dangerous place because of his actions, and there are a lot of people who are getting hurt because of his actions. So I would really like for people to just take a moment and just spend, send some love and light to Syria and the people who are being impacted and affected there. I also would like some energy to go towards the fires in Los Angeles. This thing sounds like it's very suddenly become very out of control. I believe it's in northern LA. And if you're wanting to do some energy work, sending some cool blue light would be very helpful, as like literally as in, cool to lower the temperature. And also, of course, we want to send protection to not only the amazing firefighters and first responders, but of course to the people who have been, impacted by this. So thank you for that, because I know I have amazing viewers, and I know literally as you hear this, prayers and love and protection and light are flooding the earth. And focusing in particular on these two areas. So thank you for that. Okay, so I've had a couple of interesting questions. It is October 11th, if I didn't say that. I've had a couple of interesting questions, so I thought I would do one of those sort of, 3 or 4 question readings and see what we get. The two little baby cats are fighting right now. So if you see stuff going on, they're just having their morning, I don't know what you call it, but they're having it anyways. Okay, so the first question I'm going to take a look at. This is going to be a quick one because the news just came out that I believe it was the DC Court of Appeals, I think, have said that, no, the lower court was right, and Trump absolutely does, or the Trump companies absolutely do have to hand over their financials to the House committee. And so that's cool. So I want to take a quick look and just see how that news is being received. I mean, for sure they're going to appeal, probably to the Supreme Court. And honestly, I don't think that the Supreme Court's going to take up the case. This is like established. They don't need to keep going over and over again. But come on down and let's see what's going on there. All right, so Trump and financial information and the court saying, yep, you have to release it. So let's look at Trump company finances, Trump company financials, Trump company financials. Okay, he's a little what you call overwrought about this. He is, basically telling his lawyers to fix it because that's how he just feels about stuff. If things are going on that he doesn't like, he just wants it fixed. And they're not going to be able to fix this so much. I really do not see this turning out well for him. He is particularly concerned about overseas money overseas relationships, that kind of thing. And he knows he has a lot to hide, and he knows that it's not going to go so well for him when it's not hidden anymore. So there is some real agitation there. He's more than aware of the fact that some of those dirty tricks are going to come back and haunt him, okay? This is his end result, right? We've got Ten of Swords. It's not going to go well for him. It's just really, really not going to go well. Yep. You know, more squabbling, more screaming. And again, there are some partnerships that he really, really does not want released to public knowledge, because then people are going to have some real clarity on exactly how much dark money and how many relationships that he's in where he has conflicts of interest, and where there's actually going to be a correlation between the people he has business dealings with, or the Trump companies have business dealings with, and some of his political decisions. Okay, read that as most of his political decisions. So he's not good with that. As the days go by, you can see how unhinged he is becoming. I mean, he did a rally yesterday, I believe it was in Minneapolis, and was just sweating and screaming and swearing and ranting and raving from the stage. I don't know why those silly people in those silly blue or silly red shirts and those silly red hats seem to feel that is behavior that they just think is amazing in their president, but far be it from me. I don't own a silly red shirt or a silly red hat. Next question. So this is really an interesting one. I have a viewer who has been asking me to take a look at the trade routes in the Ukraine. And it's a very, very good question. So let's just see. Okay, so Ukrainian trade routes, Ukrainian trade routes, Ukrainian trade routes. So this is kind of the story. Under the ground, all through the Ukraine, are systems to get oil from point A to point B. That is what Russia is looking for. They want access to that flow of oil. They want to be able to take it over, because of course then that means it's an easier, even easier way for them to get, their oil to market. I make no mistake. I mean, Putin can jump around and dance and scream all he wants. He has a bad and failing economy. I mean, apparently his economy is actually smaller than Italy. I mean, Italy's little, but somehow. So these things are becoming more and more imperative to these leaders in other countries, because, again, they kind of are seeing that the writing is on the wall for Trump. Okay. So it looks like there's going to be some new activity or some new exposure, things that are going to come out that sort of give that part of the story a little bit more clarity. In some ways, it's really sad, because when I look at the energy of the Ukraine, it reminds me of a wounded animal, and it is now seen as prey by the bigger and stronger animals, and they are literally stalking towards this wounded animal and attempting to take as much advantage as they can. And Ukraine is in a difficult place. because they have a history of a great deal of corruption that they're trying to fight back against, but they're also aware of the fact that they really do need help from other countries, and especially the United States. And so it puts them in a very, very precarious position. I understand just the other day, the president or prime minister, I never get those titles right, of Ukraine made another statement saying, of course he did not feel, blackmailed by the United States. Of course he did not feel pressure by the United States. Well, you know what? We all know that that's sort of a public relations statement in an attempt to calm down Trump and his cohorts. So the Ukraine is in a difficult place. On the one hand, they have something that's very, very valuable, especially to Russia. And so that puts a target on their back from Russia. And of course, because Russia and the United States, or Russia and Trump, are in cahoots with each other, Trump is going to do everything he can to kind of free Russia from the trouble basically that they have gotten into because of their bad and inappropriate actions. So in some ways, the Ukraine is just almost like in the natural crossfire, and governments are just literally taking advantage, and literally they are trying to heal the broken hearts of the Ukrainian people. And that is why they put this new government in place. And they're very hopeful that even though this is a new sort of fledgling democracy and they're doing their level best to sort of clean house, they're very hopeful that Ukraine can sort of turn the corner on this a little bit and go forward in a way that, starts to minimize some of the wrongdoings of the past by some of their leaders. As I'm zeroing in on sort of that whole Ukraine-Russia energy, I'm picking up Paul Manafort. And so that's telling me that he is either still consulting, he is still pulling strings behind, the walls. He is not sort of as isolated and removed as I guess most of us would think he is, because, he's in jail. But he's not exactly as disconnected as I guess some of us think. And of course, let's not forget that it has come out that Giuliani, of course, has gone to visit Paul Manafort in jail. I think it was actually several times to get information on the Ukraine and how to deal with them and how to maneuver them into positions. And so Paul Manafort continues to be dirty, and everything Paul Manafort does is because he's convinced at some point Trump is going to pardon him. I am pretty sure that Trump is not going to pardon him, by the way. Okay, so again, the bottom line is Russia wants what Ukraine has, and it's not going to be very polite about trying to get it. But I actually think that Ukraine might end up prevailing. And part of the reason for that is because you see the speed with which this situation is sort of crumbling, right? It's all falling apart. I mean, it's the tower card, right? It is all self-imploding. And it's in some ways, it's not a tower as much as it is a city, like a downtown core of a city, where you got all those tall buildings. And it's like one falls, that's the tower, except that unstabilizes the building beside it, and that thing starts to crumble. So we're called the other building DOJ, and we're going to call another building that starts to crumble the Department of State. And, that's what's going on there. And so as all this stuff starts to implode, Ukraine is going to find themselves in a much better position, that it's going to be more balanced, because frankly, so much information, and really ugly information, in terms of literally trying to, force another foreign country to do Trump's bidding. And because Trump wants his bidding done, because he wants to make Putin happy. Nice little triangle there. But I actually think Ukraine can survive this. Yeah, I think they're going to actually be able to come through this. And if they stay strong and don't give away too much right now trying to pacify Trump, then they should be able to move through this. And part of what is going to happen as all this comes out is that Putin is also going to find that his reputation is smeared. Okay, now Putin doesn't actually care if his reputation is smeared, but it's not going to be good sort of globally. And as these pushbacks continue, you're going to see other leaders sort of rallying behind the Ukraine, and really again pushing or sanctioning, or whatever some of those legal maneuvers are, the Trump and Russia. No, sorry, Putin and Russia, although Trump's right in there, okay? Okay, next really interesting question. Somebody asked me to take a look at Fox News and what's going on there, and what kind of what that looks like going forward a little bit. So let's concentrate on Fox News, and even let's see if we can get some insight into some of the talking heads or personalities, and how they might end up faring under the glare of an impeachment inquiry, and under the glare of some really negative information coming out. So, Fox. Well, all right then. Okay. Trump is growing increasingly angry with Fox. He is starting to lash out. And as usual, Trump has a much more impressive idea of who he is than who he actually is. And this whole president thing has truly gone to his head, and he honestly thinks that he can dictate everything to everybody. And you see what happens when people don't comply. He gets angry and he starts venting and shouting and screaming. So what's going on here is literally Fox News keeps handing Trump information that he doesn't want to hear, he doesn't want to take. It's starting to scare him, especially the Fox poll, the Fox News or Fox, whatever they're called, polls. I believe it's the Fox News organization that does those polls, even though we all use the term news loosely. It's starting to worry him. It's starting to scare him because, again, not only are the polls bad, but a lot of the sort of news people are actually starting to say, you know what he did was wrong. And there needs to be accountability. They are no longer doing this blanket support. This, we will support him at all costs, even if, we really have to spin things at a weird angle to make it work. that is coming to a bit of an end now. You know, the Hannitys and the Ingalls and the Carlsons are going to, honestly, they are going to milk this situation for all it is worth. Do not for 1 second think that those 3 people and a bunch of the other yahoos that regularly appear on that channel actually like Trump, because they don't. What they are doing is riding the coattails of his position to attempt to leverage themselves into a higher position. Unfortunately, they're going to fall because as more and more stuff comes out, and I think especially Hannity is going to have a lot of explaining to do, simply because everybody knows he is so close to Trump. I mean, they talk like daily or nightly or whatever the story is there. So he knows a whole lot. And the fact that he goes on air and tells this totally, totally different story, when behind the scenes he is saying, oh my God, this is a disaster, that's not going to work for him going forward. I can actually see him in particular being in a fair amount of... trouble isn't the word I'm looking for. It's more like a real loss of reputation, a loss of standing. That kind of energy is going to be around him. At least that's the reading now. I mean, could that get worse? Absolutely, as more information comes out. But definitely, it looks as if Hannity in particular could really have a bit of a rough run ahead of him. Okay, this is what you got to remember. And I believe I've said this before, because I know a little while ago I did another sort of little segment on Fox. At the bottom of it all, Fox is a money-making organization. That's what they do, okay? They put out product, they get advertisers, and they make money from the products they put out. Simple as that. Well, they're starting to look at what makes them money. And they're starting to look at exactly how sustainable that is going to be, because everyone who is not Trump can see that he is getting slammed up against a brick wall with nowhere to turn. So slowly, you can see the Fox organization starting to shift the narrative. They're shifting it slowly, and they're shifting it carefully. But remember this, Trump's core base gets all of their news, or the vast majority of their news, from Fox News. Again, I use the term lightly. So what happens when Fox starts shaping the narrative in a way that takes some of the shine off of Trump? Those people, that base, are going to actually start having more insight and more information that has been denied to them for 3 years, starting to come out, and they're going to start getting or hearing some really interesting things that they were like completely unaware of. I mean, literally, it reminds me of, and I'm sure you all saw it a few months ago, that town hall, and that lady said, I had no idea that the Mueller report did not completely exonerate Trump. It's like that. It's like a bunch of people who are misinformed or uninformed. They're going to start getting informed. And the more informed they become, even they are going to start falling away. Okay, he's always going to have some people that just cling to him like he's the Messiah. Help us all. But more and more, you're going to see these people peeling away as Fox starts to change the narrative about what is going on in the government. And let me tell you, the more trouble Trump's in, the faster they're going to start spinning, and they're going to start kind of really creating another narrative so that people are getting more of a clear story, because again, they can't keep everything based on Trump, because they realize that that is a story that ultimately is going to run out of steam. Okay. It's a business, it's an organization. You have to assume that they probably have a business plan that lasts longer than the 5 minutes that Trump typically uses when he's making business plans. So you have to figure that on some level they really, really are realizing that they're going to lose a lot of their support if they don't, because the story's going to run dry. And so they need to, make it so that they continue to be viable. And since they don't love him, they're not going to stand by him. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick 3 or 4 card cut. A lot of people have been asking about Turkey and Syria. I don't have a great deal of insight on that right now. Energetically, it feels very much like a war zone. It feels very much like people are being hurt and killed and displaced. There is a great deal of fear and a great deal of confusion energetically. So let's just take a quick look. Turkey and Syria, Turkey and Syria, Turkey and Syria. And make no mistake, in private, Trump is still getting raked over the coals about this ridiculous decision he made to pull those troops. All right, well, Syria is definitely in a position where they are being absolutely forced to fight back and defend themselves. They have some assets, they have some strengths that they're going to be using to work for them to try to create some safety and some security going forward. There is no question that people are going to die. I'm sorry. And the blood of those deaths are on Trump's hands. They are on Pompeo's hands. And the fact that I think the troops that are there, never mind how betrayed Syria feels, but the troops themselves feel betrayed. They feel that they have a commander-in-chief who doesn't know what the hell he is talking about, doesn't understand anything, and their lives are at risk because he's trying to do a favor for Turkey because, he wants Turkey to stay on his side because he has businesses there. So what Trump has done is he has literally taken 2 U.S. allies and pitted them against each other, frankly, for his own benefit. And so this is a disgraceful situation. And I can't tell you right now, with the 6 of Wands and the 3 of Cups, I'm sort of inclined to say that there's going to be at least some good news. It may not be spectacular news, but it looks as if there's, maybe some of the things that are going to happen going forward, whether it is sanctions, whatever it is going to be able to rein some of this in before it gets really bad. But I can't sugarcoat it. It's not a good situation, and it doesn't look like it's going to get dramatically better in the next short while. Okay, so October 14th, this coming Monday, is the Canadian Thanksgiving. So to my Canadian viewers, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy the Thanksgiving weekend and have time to reflect and have much in your lives to be thankful for. I certainly know as I am celebrating Thanksgiving with my family, I am going to be tremendously grateful for the incredible, amazing, and humbling support I have received from each and every one of you. Thank you. Okay. As a result, I am going to be taking Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. But you know me. If anything wackadoodle happens, I will be out here at my little chair, at my little table in a heartbeat. So, have an amazing weekend, everybody. Have a festive weekend, Canadians. And until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.